the same people that were shorting Blockbuster
Cyberish.
are the people
Toys R Us too, I think.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to the
68th, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What the Flicks podcast. And tonight our films are Dumb Money, Amsterdam, Anatomy of a Fall, Prey, and The Holdovers. So I think we're going to begin with you, Lonnie.
Okay, who are participating in this podcast?
Oh, yes. Just us guys. Okay, my name is Susan Ayers.
Patty Smith.
Lon Shima.
Jorge Sanchez.
Bob Nick Shields,
There you go.
who is always looking down whenever the camera's on. So
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Hi.
Okay, Lon.
Oh, okay. So I chose Dumb Money, and this was directed by Craig Gillespie and written by Lauren Schuker Bloom and Rebecca Angelo, but it's based on a book called The Antisocial Network by Ben Melrich. The only reason I picked this movie, because I heard about it when it was released theatrically, is it was based on the GameStop stock, which I had heard about, and I took an interest because, in my opinion, this was the first movement since Occupy Wall Street that really took on some of the big financial players in the United States, if not in the world. And it was sort of fascinating to see. I don't want to say the common man. That sounds so horrible when I talk about stocks in that way.
It was the working class people.
Right, but this young kid played by Paul Dano, Keith Gill, he's on the internet. God, I keep forgetting. I don't even know what he was on. Something called like Wall Street Book
Bets,
or Bets,
Wall Street Bets.
right? Something like that. So I'm not familiar with that. But he also apparently was on YouTube. And apparently he did things with cats and the stuff that people post on YouTube, right? But he was just going on about a stock, about GameStop, that he believed in it. And I'm also assuming because he was a gamer, that he liked playing GameStop. So my feeling was his audience was probably the same type of people.
Right.
Probably that age group, people who are still into video, or see, I say video, into gaming, video gaming, and not streaming the game, which is what a lot of people were betting on was going to happen with movies now, everything. That, oh, you don't need to go into a store. And he's saying no. And his case, I think, was correct because he had said, which I believe, you buy a game and you're spending, I'm assuming, $40 to $80, sometimes $100 on these things, and you don't like it. So what do? You're going to take it back, and you probably won't get your money, but can I get another game? So he was talking about how that's what was keeping GameStop alive, was going in, getting the bargains on the returns and, buying things cheaply. And he thought that can still make money for these people. So it's not just, it's mostly about him and his story. And that's what I found fascinating. The rest of the movie basically is other financial people backing him, other financial people. Another very important part I should put in was the Robinhood site and app. That's what sort of allowed them to do this because, like you said, in fact, I forget the term they use. What did the term they use for the buyers? That they were like retail traders?
They're the dumb money.
Right. Well, that's what they
Is it brick and mortar or something?
No, he had an extra term for them, and I thought that was interesting. God,
So interesting, you knew you didn't have to write it down because you'd remember.
Well, no, I didn't get a chance to write it down because that was a problem. That's what we wanted to do. I didn't know I was going to be first. But anyway, it was sort of fascinating. But it was, like you said, just ordinary people just getting involved in stock. And another reason I want to see the movie is I saw a journalist cover this, and he talked about how his son or grandson, if I'm not mistaken, vested $100 even after the point. Because he said, no. The point is to take on the people who are controlling the market by making...
they're shorting it.
They're shorting it, right. Like if you've seen The Big Short, this is sort of part of that. That's exactly what they did, except they spent hundreds of millions. These are just all these people buying one or two shares for their $5 and then building and building. Because at one point, I think it went over 400 percent, if I'm not mistaken, or 100%, that was so outrageous that people could not believe this. And that's why I was making national news. The problem was, for me personally, all of a sudden it stopped because he was not posting anymore. And that's what I thought, okay, what happened there? So this movie, and if you want to read the book, The Antisocial Network, he obviously explains everything. The movie also explains everything. It shows you who comes in to back the backers who are putting up or who bet on the short. You're seeing other people, just like you said, college students, people even working at GameStop, also investing because I think, we trust this guy for whatever reason. There is no reason, but I must admit, Paul Dano is so good in this. He's very earnest. I can see it. He even seems a little, really not that bright. He just seems like he just is enthusiastic for whatever he wants to broadcast because he sort of wants attention, I think, in that way. And so once this happens, him, his family, everybody getting involved, it is sort of an amazing little story. That's the only reason I'd recommend to see the story. I found the movie itself not as engaging, unfortunately. I thought it was sort of stilted, or they had information I don't think I needed. But for the most part, I thought it was an actual entertaining movie, though, that tells the entire story from sort of start to finish, which is sort of nice. And I will say this, watch the ending because you will see which I always like, the actual real character. So when you actually see him in a video with a cat, I actually started laughing. So
I actually enjoyed the movie too. I like his name was Roaring Kitty.
Roaring Kitty.
So I thought the movie was my voice going almost like a 101 in shorting and investing and Wall Street. I'm expert in that, but it's almost like you taking a lesson, like watching The Big Short.
Yeah,
it's they teach you, that world. Right. And also, I remember when this was happening, and I was missing a lot of it. Like I know it would happen, and then suddenly it stopped, and then it was going on. And then the movie shows you behind the scenes of what happened. So you go, oh, okay, I see how they work it. I like sometimes I don't like when I see famous people. There was quite a bit of famous people in this one, well-known actors. But funny enough, Seth Rogen plays a character, right. But he was so funny in it, and you couldn't screw a better person than Seth Rogen because his reaction is going to be so funny. and then there's the other guy too,
the brother.
No, the guy that he's always phoning. He's another comedian that's been doing a lot of serious roles too.
The one he's always.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman, yeah. Yes, I like Nick Offerman too. He's really funny, but no, he's another one that can be be funny if you screw him too. I thought Paul Dano, he's really good and he's such a good actor. Because I don't even know how old the guy is. He must be like in his full 50s now or 40s. He almost looks like in his 20s to me.
He played Spielberg's father in the movie.
Amazing. And then what's interesting about Paul Dano is, like you said, he seems not bright, but in the movie it shows me, because I think it might be his personality, like he always seems like he's not that smart, but he's really smart. He just gives off this, I'm kind of not that bright energy, and then I'm really bright and I'll screw you kind of thing. So I love the movie. What am I saying? Well,
I'll say this. His wife, by the way, played by Shailene Woodley.
Shailene Woodley?
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her in this.
I think she says it all. She says he doesn't know much, but he knows everything about this stock. And I thought that's what it was. Again, research, knowing everything, having a feeling.
And also the movie's about, also talks about how you sometimes you get a group and he becomes the William Wallace to the group.
Yes.
And once you have a cause, the people are looking to you, and he has such a big responsibility. And if they see him not doing something, they won't do it either. It's just to the point that they're, it's
no, like I said, it became a movement.
Wasn't it all Reddit people? That's how they kind of got together.
Reddit, and then there was Wall Street Bets.
Well, again, it's all that online kind of stuff, which I don't really pay attention to. I'm not a computer person. Right. So that was the funny part. And that's why I just heard things on the news about that.
And I can imagine the stress of you put so much money into something, and suddenly you have 100,000. Like, let's say any one of us, suddenly there's 100,000, and you're like, oh, shoot, should I put it out? But they're so... It's to them is the principle of it that why we make money.
No, exactly. Yes.
Because I'll be like, man, 500,000, that thing that's coming out.
Yes. And his followers at least in the movie, they were very loyal to him. That's what I really like. They're saying, what is he? Whatever he does, we will do.
When they were joining a crusade, though, he was the leader of a crusade.
Yeah. Right, I'm saying, should have painted his face blue and say, "Can't remind me of Braveheart." So,
I wondered why you were comparing him to William Wallace there. That was a confusing thing to me because
the followers, the way he inspired his followers, and they just. If he said jump, they will jump.
So this is like Braveheart without the disembowelment.
Well, kind of.
I gotta. Are you done?
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta say, I don't know whether I like this movie or not because I couldn't understand a thing. This is a movie I needed subtitles to because they were speaking some language that is a bastardization of English that I can't follow. I mean, I said it's a new language, Cyberish or Siberish, whatever you want to pronounce it.
Siberish, I like that.
I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I was shocked to see that Craig Gillespie directed it because I'm a huge fan of Craig Gillespie's. He did a movie called I think it's The Finest Hours with Chris Pine about that, which is like one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. I've seen it several times because it's a rescue movie. It's not about like people dying. It's about saving people from dying. And they did a period thing with it, and it really worked. And he also did a movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it's with I think Josh Brolin. As Miles Teller is the lead. It's about the firefighters who died in this horrible fire.
I saw that. I don't know.
And it's a
Did he do that one? Oh,
yeah. And James Badgedale, one of my favorite actors, is in that too. So I mean, I didn't know going into it that Craig Gillespie directed it. When I saw it was Craig Gillespie, I said, "Oh, interesting," because I'd seen it advertised. Paul Dano is like a phenomenal actor. Paul Dano is like. I can't explain how good he is because
he's like a chameleon.
Every time, but I mean, he's always because of his face. He's always Paul Dano. There's no two ways about that.
But he seems to just get into.
Yeah, he really is. He's really somebody to watch. I mean, and there are other actors like that around now. I mean, it's a good time for actors in general. But this thing, I just kept saying, I wish they had English subtitles on this because I can't understand what they're talking about. And I said, you know what this movie needs? It needs Margot Robbie in a bathtub describing what's going on because they did that with the Big Short. And I said, okay, they're right. They say to you, you're not going to be able to understand what we're talking about. So we got Margot Robbie in a bathtub who's going to explain this to you. And I said, oh yeah, give me Margot in a bathtub. Well, guess what? No soap.
Well, unfortunately, maybe on roller or ice skates.
No.
I know,
but Tanya Harding hasn't got a leg up, so to speak, on Margot Robbie in a bathtub.
Well, yeah, I can't argue with you about that. But okay, I was so glad you picked this movie.
Oh, good.
I really was. I followed it, and this 2021, I think it was like.
Oh, so you follow this story too?
I followed this story because it reminded me so much of Bitcoin. You know, the people in Bitcoin are not in it for the money either. The first people of Bitcoin were not. They have the terms like diamond hands. In other words, you don't sell. Right? It's like
and that's what they kept saying in the movie, Diamond Hands.
It's like they also have those terms.
So HODL, which is hold, but reverse kind of HODL.
Yeah, HODL. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bitcoin people are also like all the naysayers, all the whatever. So I really related to this. It's kind of like, and I followed the story at the time, and I was so rooting for GameStop because those people. The kids, well, they're not kids, but they're kind of young people. They're kind of young people. They were actually
more of a young crowd that were buying it.
All those people, they would go as teenagers to GameStop. Yeah. It was kind of a place they hung out. They went to GameStop. Right. You know, they like people go to the mall. People went to GameStop and got their videos and kind of hung out there, and that meant something to them, right? So it was had an emotional tie to them. So. This is the story of the little guy fights back. And it's a classic story, but it's in a different way, right? So I like the twist on it. It's a true story, what makes it all the better. These guys and girls all came together from Reddit. That's how they all got together. They were all on Reddit. So they were very opposed to the same people that did Blockbuster, they shorted it. because now we have streaming. The same people that were shorting Blockbuster
Cyberish.
are the people.
Toys R Us too, I think.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Shorting just means I bet against it. I'm betting
That it's gonna
against
go
it.
bankrupt.
I'm not betting. I'm betting the stock is
It's gonna
going to go
drop.
down. Right? That's what I bet. And then they also pile on, on it. And that's how they do. They do like a pack of wolves. They pile on it and they bet against it. And they bet against it, and they went, no way.
Well, now, would this be a pack of wolves of Wall Street?
Yes.
Basically, yes.
Yes.
So
In
when
fact,
they-
that's what they're called. Dumb
so-
money. People who do it outside
Yeah.
of that are like dumb money.
So when they're
That's-
buying so they buy the stock goes back up. They bet so much money that it was gonna go down. Now they're gonna owe millions
and
and,
they're going to
millions and
have
millions.
to they're going to have to call on that.
Yeah.
They're going to have to make their bet because it's within a certain time frame.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go down. They owe all that money, right? So that's how it
And that one
happens.
shows the shenanigans they do too, like
And,
with it.
and they were not having it. They were not having it. It was like, that's what they kept saying. It's like, that's what it was. It wasn't about the money, except after they started making so much money, they started to be like, shoot, should I pay the mortgage off? Should I, you know what I
That's
mean?
what I'm saying.
And they're like, no, we're not going to do it. Right. And they would kind of look to him to see if he was holding, because he's an ordinary guy too. So, his brother, played by Paul Davidson, delivers fast food. He was really actually very funny in it. His
Was a fun character, right?
America Ferrera is also in it, and she works like as a nurse in an old age home.
America
And-
Ferrera is the one who was like kept losing money, and she said, "No, I'm sticking with it."
Yeah.
No. She was making money,
But she-
and they kept telling her, sell. Her
Yes.
friend
No,
kept
but
saying,
there was
pay off your mortgage, get your
Yes,
you
yes.
get your
Yeah,
kids
she was making money.
braces. So she was making money.
but she was $158,000 in debt from student loans,
Okay.
mortgage,
And I
all
like how
that
it
kind of
shows you
stuff.
when it shows introduces you to the people. It shows you what their funds are like, minus whatever or plus. That person only is a minus 100,000 pesos, has $5,000 in the bank. It shows you where they are. So then it shows you where they're gonna be.
Right, and what happened at the end.
The guy
But
from Hamilton.
But these are really ordinary people, and they're fighting the system. They took on the system. I loved it.
I do love the Robin Hood type movies.
Oh, yeah.
And because it's a true story, I got to say, I loved it, except like you, but for different reasons. I didn't have a clue what they were talking about. I wish I had studied up on what they were doing.
That's just a word that means I bet against it.
Yeah, but you weren't there.
Well,
to-
let me
what does
still-
that
Yeah,
mean? What's
you
that mean?
describing it, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but watching the movie, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
and at one point, I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. But if you kind of brush up on the area that they're doing the money thing, it's a great movie. And
Because
it's a true
remember, they
story.
don't know anything about it either. He does.
No, I'm talking about me, real person here, watching the movie.
Oh, there's actually a guy that I used to watch too, kind of a guy like him, called Cryptos Are Us, and he did all the stuff,
guy.
and he still does it, right? Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was very familiar with this kind of guy. He has a YouTube show, and not that I bought I am more into Bitcoin, but I followed him because I don't know, it's just interesting.
They have personalities. They have
Yeah.
a lot of personality.
Yeah.
But I would say I would brush up on this kind of investment if you know nothing about the stock market, because it does get detailed. But because it's a true story, it's a little person going against the big companies, and they did well. It's
Yeah.
worth saying.
And also, if they explain the lingo to the layman's people,
Oh yeah, they should.
it's actually a lesson in how the world works.
Yeah.
Because I found that, that it did teach me a lot. Yeah, I kind of know the lingo, but it did teach me a lot of stuff I didn't know because I'm not familiar with the whole
Right.
Wall Street investment.
Well, it might have taught me stuff I didn't know, but they were speaking a foreign language, so I still don't know. And I was thinking about it when you're talking about it. I've never cared much for movies about money.
This isn't
just-
about money.
No, it's actually not about
Yeah,
money.
yeah, but it's using the world of finance, which leaves me cold. I
Well,
don't.
they
I don't
were
understand
they
it.
were screwing the world of finance. That
Yeah, but
always
it's
screws
just
them.
it just
It's
it was
more
like
about a people movie.
Yeah.
And the medium is money.
Well, like
But
I say,
that's not
I don't
really
know
the
whether I
important
liked it or
part.
not, but I didn't
Yeah.
hate it.
Well, let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we all good? Did we all say everything we want to say?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be George.
Oh, yeah. No, I enjoyed it. So I would say I give it a 8.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't do it. I give it a 9. I loved it.
Wow.
I give it a 7 this time, but I probably give it a 9 when I go back and watch it
Yeah,
again.
when you're standing.
After I've studied up
Yeah, we
on
have
the
to
world
watch.
of
There's
financing.
a documentary on Netflix on the
About-
same topic.
The what?
A documentary on Netflix. It's
so-
Yes, I think
like
it's
a full-
actually, isn't it called The Antisocial
Yeah,
Network?
but yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
So then it's probably it might even be more thorough into the whole.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you said something about the cannery on Essex, and I was going, what is he talking about?
This is I'm losing my voice, so I'm going into Puss in Boots mode. Yeah, Puss in Boots. I gotta do the movie.
And I gave
Okay.
this a 6.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Movie.
Okay.
So we'll be
6
back.
is good for him. Okay.
Yes.
And he picked it.
What's next?